So recently, I was looking through a bunch of flight simulators on Roblox, and I happened to come across this game called Ro-320. Now, this game specifically caught my attention because it has a fully interactive, detailed cockpit, like all the buttons you can press, and it's like an actual cockpit in real life, which is something we really haven't seen in Row Aviation. Yeah, we've seen like Project Flight and Arrowware, I guess, but no, this is like a truly realistic cockpit, and I thought it would be cool to check out this game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. This is Ro-320. This is the main menu, and as you can see, there isn't really much to see so far. This game is kind of new and it's still in development, but we're gonna go ahead and make a new flight. This will go ahead and teleport us into a different server. All right, now here we are. We are now in the cockpit of the Airbus A320, and as we can see, it is very detailed. We have a bunch of buttons here and all this. Now, here's the only thing. Now, while we do have all these realistic features in the cockpit, we do have one downside. This is what we're working with here. This is the entire airplane so far. As we can see, there is not an actual airplane that we're flying. The game mainly focuses on the cockpit experience, but I would hope that they would have an entire airplane that we could fly soon, so it would add more to like the realism. For now, we're just gonna have to deal with the cockpit, but don't worry, there's still a lot to explore in this game, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, as we can see, this is the airport over here. We have some ground crew guys over here, which they're actually really tall, like goddamn. And we got a marshalling guy over here, and then we got the guy over here driving the GPU. Now we're going to get back in the cockpit right now, and I'm going to go ahead and show all the features, well, most of the features that the cockpit has to offer. Now we are back in the cockpit, and seeing all these buttons and noticing how each one of these buttons are interactable somehow, that might scare some of you, because some of you might not even know how to fly a plane in real life, which I don't think many of you know how to fly a plane in real life and what all these buttons actually do. And neither am I. I'm on the same boat as you guys. But I actually have done a bit of research on how the cockpit works and how to actually start up this aircraft, and I'll be trying my best to showcase that in this video. Keep in mind, it is not 100% perfect, the procedure I'm going to do, but I have been playing around in this game for a bit, and I actually have done some research on how to actually somewhat start up this aircraft, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through it. So they give us a little checklist menu. We're going to focus mainly on the pre-flight and like start up procedure, and the first thing we have to do is go ahead and turn on the batteries like so, and that gets us started. Now what we need to do is we need to sit on the chair, we need to go on our little iPad thing right here, and then we got to log in, right? And then we're going to head to ground services, and we're going to request a ground power unit.
Ground requesting a ground power unit, thank you.
And we're going to watch this little guy, well, not little guy. We're going to watch the ground crew guy go ahead and connect the GPU. Now that that has been connected, we can go ahead and actually turn on the power for the aircraft. And we would click that with this button right here. And as we can see, everything begins to light up now. All the screens have turned on and all the lights are on. Now, since we are using a GPU, it isn't really necessary for us to use the APU, but we're going to go ahead and turn it on just in case, just to showcase it. And the first thing you'd want to do, you'd want to test the APU first. So you can go ahead and do that. Hold on. You hold on to the button and then you let go, and that's how you test it. And then you go ahead and actually turn it on by clicking these two buttons right over here. Now, next, what we want to do is go ahead and turn on the electric pump, and then turn on the left pumps, the right pumps, and then the center pumps right over here. Now, there are a bunch of other features right here. These control all the lights, so you got your beacon lights, strobe lights, runway lights. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. You have the seatbelt signs, no smoking signs, and then we have cabin pressure, anti-ice. This is like in cold weather, you might want to use that. And then you basically just a bunch of controls like this. Then you got wipers. Here is the autopilot system over here, and we also want to turn the crossbleed to auto. Now let's go ahead and continue following our checklist. They want us to turn the strobe lights to auto, so we're going to go ahead and do that right there. And then they want us to seatbelt sign on, the seatbelt sign on, and then the no smoking sign on as well. And then display brightness, I think it's just talking about the screens right here or like the actual lighting, but it seems pretty good for us. We don't need to worry about that. Now we want to go ahead and test out a few different systems. Right here we have the terrain awareness test, which I'll go ahead and show you guys what it sounds like.
Terrain awareness test start.
Flight slow. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Sink rate. Pull up.
But yeah, next we can test the cargo smoke test, which we just hold on to the button right here and then we let go. And we can also go ahead and test the annunciator lights, which is done like this. And all these will be lit up just to make sure that they all work. And then we can go ahead and turn that off. To turn on the engines, first we want to test the engines. So we're going to hold these buttons right here. There we go. And then do the same for the second engine. And then we go ahead and come over here, and then we're going to turn to ignition/start, and then we can lift the engine. Now it says that there's a fault, which I think it means I did something wrong. I don't know. I'm not the best at this, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and figure out what I did wrong. All right, I believe I was supposed to turn on the APU bleed. Let's see if that worked. I think that was the issue, but let's go ahead and check. And yep, it's not showing, which means the engine is starting up. And now we want to go ahead and do the same to the second engine, which will do that. And then once that's on, we want to go ahead and, of course, turn off the APU because we no longer need it since the engines are on. And to turn off the APU, you just click this button right here, and that does that. There we go. And the engines have now fully started up. You can't really fly the plane. Like I said, it's still in development, but you can go ahead and control the side stick right here. As you can see, the animations on it are pretty cool like that. And then we can also go ahead and mess with the throttle as well. But there are also a few Easter eggs over here. Like there's this button right here. It plays a cat noise, which is pretty cool. And also, if you go down over here and type in 7500, which is squawk 7500, you get a funny little thing where if we look over here, you saw for a brief second, but there were fighter jets that flew over us. Basically, when you squawk 7500, I'm sure everyone knows this, is when you've had a hijacking incident, and when that happens, usually fighter jets will come and scramble around your aircraft, so that's why. Now, I think that's all the features that I've gone through. If there's something that I missed, something very important that I missed, please let me know in the comment section. But if you'd want to check this game out, it's free. It's in the description, and you can go ahead and check this game out. I think it's pretty fun messing around with the cockpit, getting to learn, being more familiar with the cockpit in general. This definitely helped me a lot as well, and I think it'd help you too. So if you want to play this game, the link's in the description. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching,